In the vast, silent expanse of the Arctic, where the sun kisses the ice for half the year and abandons it for the other, a lone monarch roamed. He was a polar bear, but not just any bear. His fur was the color of fresh fallen snow, his muscles coiled springs of immense power beneath a thick layer of blubber. His name, in the ancient tongue of the wind, was Ursus, the king of the glaciers. For seasons uncounted, he had patrolled the edge of the frozen sea, a solitary guardian of a silent, white world. His paws, as large as dinner plates, left deep impressions in the snow, a testament to his might and his dominion. He was the embodiment of survival, a master of his icy kingdom. But beneath the serene surface, a shadow was growing. A chilling emptiness had begun to creep into the ocean, a void that even the hardy seals and the resilient fish could not escape. The vibrant life that once teemed in the frigid depths was vanishing. An ancient terror long dormant had awakened. It was known as Cetus, the Ice Reaper, a whale of monstrous proportions and chilling purpose. Its skin was the color of a bruised, sunless glacier, its eyes twin pits of cold, dark hunger. Cetus did not hunt for sustenance in the way other creatures did. It consumed the very essence of life, leaving behind a sterile, frozen abyss. The ocean was not just its hunting ground. It was its pantry, and it was slowly, methodically, devouring it whole. The ice itself seemed to groan under the weight of its malevolent presence, the water growing colder, deader, with each passing day. Ursus, in his patrol, sensed the wrongness. The air, once crisp with the scent of salt and life, now carried a faint, metallic tang of decay. The seals, his primary prey, were scarce. The few he saw were gaunt, their eyes wide with a fear he had never witnessed before. He would stand at the edge of a vast ice sheet, his black nose twitching, trying to decipher the chilling new scent on the wind. He peered into the water, but where there should have been the fleeting shadows of cod and char, there was only an unnerving, dark stillness. The sea was becoming a mirror of the sky, vast and empty. A deep, instinctual disquiet settled in the bear's heart. This was not a change of seasons, it was a creeping death. His kingdom was being poisoned from within, and the great White King felt the first stirrings of a rage as cold and pure as the ice itself. One dawn, as the pale sun cast long, blue shadows across the snow, the world shattered. With a sound like a mountain cleaving into, a colossal form erupted from the sea. Water, ice, and frozen spray were thrown hundreds of feet into the air. It was Cetus. The Ice Reaper whale breached the surface, its immense head, scarred and ancient, blotting out the horizon. Its vast maw opened, a cavern of jagged, ice-like baleen, and it let out a horrifying cry not of a living creature, but of grinding glaciers and shattering worlds. The sound was a wave of pure cold, freezing the very air, turning the spray into a hail of icy needles. The ocean around it instantly flash froze, the living water turning to dead, black ice under its chilling influence. Ursus stood his ground on the precipice of the fracturing ice shelf, a dwarf before the Leviathan. But in his chest beat the heart of a king. Fear was a luxury he could not afford. As Cetus's malevolent gaze fell upon him, seeing not a creature but another speck of life to be extinguished, the polar bear did the unthinkable. He did not retreat. He did not flee. He roared. It was a challenge, a furious declaration of war against the encroaching void. The sound ripped through the frigid air, a beacon of defiance in a dying world. Then, gathering all his strength, Ursus launched himself from the cliff edge. He soared through the air, a white comet of fury, and plunged into the chaotic, freezing abyss where the monster churned the sea. The impact was jarring. The water was colder than any winter Ursus had ever known, a cold that didn't just numb, but actively sought to steal the life from his body. Shards of ice, sharp as daggers, tore at his fur, but his rage was a furnace within him. He surfaced, gasping, and saw the immense, dark flank of Cetus rising beside him like a moving mountain range. The whale's aura of frost radiated outwards, and waves of pure cold washed over the bear, seeking to freeze his blood, to stop his heart. Every muscle screamed in protest, but Ursus fought back. He swam with powerful strokes, his claws extended, aiming for the colossal eye that regarded him with cold, ancient indifference. He lunged, clawing at the whale's tough, icy hide. His claws, which could shatter the bones of a walrus, scraped against Cetus's skin, sending sparks of frozen energy into the water. The whale thrashed, annoyed by the persistent gnat on its flank. Its massive fluke rose from the water and crashed down with the force of a collapsing glacier. Ursus dove deep to avoid the blow, the shockwave nearly crushing him. The pressure was immense, the darkness absolute. He was in the monster's element now, a land creature fighting a sea god in its own temple. But the king of the ice would not yield, their battle raged. The sea itself seemed to buckle under the strain of their titanic struggle. Where the whale's icy aura met the bear's fiery defiance, the water boiled and froze in the same instant. The ancient ice sheets, which had stood for millennia, began to crack and splinter. Great fissures ran for miles across the frozen ocean, the sound of their splitting echoing like thunder across the pole. Ursus, driven by pure instinct and a king's will to protect his realm, was relentless. He climbed onto the whale's back, a white warrior on a black beast, clawing and biting, tearing at the source of the unnatural cold. Cetus roared in frustration, diving deep and then breaching spectacularly, trying to shake the furious bear from its back. The ocean convulsed, and the very foundations of the Arctic were shaken. From the chaos of their war, new land was born. Huge fragments of the seabed, torn loose by the violence of their struggle, were thrust upwards. Mountains of ice and rock erupted from the depths, creating new islands where none had existed before. The geography of the pole was being rewritten by their combat. As Cetus thrashed, its powerful movements pushed these new land masses into place, their jagged peaks solidifying in the frigid air. The world was being unmade and remade in a single, brutal ballet of creation and destruction. And still Ursus held on, his white fur now stained and matted, his body a canvas of deep cuts and bruises, but his spirit unbroken. Finally, with a last, desperate surge of power, Ursus found his mark. He drove his claws deep into the whale's great, unblinking eye. A shriek of genuine pain, a sound Cetus had perhaps never made before, echoed across the new-formed islands. The whale's aura of cold faltered. The unnatural chill that had plagued the ocean began to recede. The monster thrashed one last time, a cataclysmic spasm that threw Ursus clear, sending him tumbling through the air and onto one of the newly formed rocky shores. Wounded and exhausted, Cetus, the Ice Reaper, sank back into the depths. It did not die, but it was defeated, its power broken. It retreated to the sunless abyss to slumber once more, the life-draining cold vanishing with it. Ursus dragged himself to his feet. His body ached, his breath came in ragged gasps, and his white fur was scarred and blooded. He stood atop the highest peak of the new island, a monument born from his battle, and looked out over his kingdom. The sea, no longer black and sterile, was slowly returning to its deep, life-giving blue. A gentle current began to stir. He could feel it, a subtle shift in the world. The ocean was breathing again. Life would return. He had faced the abyss and emerged triumphant. He was Ursus, the king of the glaciers, the savior of his world, standing scarred but victorious over a sea that could finally, once more, breathe. And as the Arctic sun rose, casting its golden light over the new islands and the healing sea, the great bear let out a long, rumbling roar, not of anger, but of victory, a promise of life renewed. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic journey into the heart of the Arctic. If you were captivated by the tale of Ursus and the Ice Reaper, please show your support by hitting that like button. And for more incredible stories from the wild and forgotten corners of our imagination, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got so many more adventures to share with you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.